Go back to
I'm going to fix that.
Good evening, everybody. How you guys doing tonight? Thanks for showing up to the Georgia Shooting Connection live stream. Tonight we have a special guest with us, NYC Reloader, otherwise known as NYC, and my iPad. So anyway, guys, I am glad that everybody can make it out. We've got quite a few people already in the live chat. Crazy Scotsman Mig was giving me a bunch of bones about when to start. Bigger Behind the Trigger, appreciate you showing up, buddy. MCK, glad you can make it. OP25, TTFD, Shane, glad to see you, brother. JCM45 is already on. Guys, I appreciate everybody jumping on. Hopefully we get a little bit better than we did last week as far as the notifications. So go ahead and have everybody introduce themselves. If you want to start there, NYC, that'll probably help move, get everybody introduced to who you are that may not know. All right.
New York City, great. New York City Reloader, first name Kevin. I'm behind enemy lines, like my YouTube site says. You don't know how difficult it is to be a gun enthusiast and a reloader in the communist state of New York, or the socialist state of New York, as they like to say. Been reloading for a long time, and glad to share my knowledge and gather knowledge from you guys as well. So it's pretty cool. Love this community. Hey, where do we go to see it on YouTube so I can share the link with somebody?
Goes to my channel, The Reloading Press. And it'll be on there. More to the point, actually, my interesting question, my first question I'm going to ask you is Yankees or Mets?
Well, I don't know. I will say it this way, as democratic as possible. I'm a Yankees guy. and with that comes the Giants. If you live in the New York area, you're either Yankees or you're Mets. But by that pick, you also have to pick the Jets.
Mets or Jets?
The Mets, yeah.
Yeah, I'm a Mets and Jets guy.
Yeah, I gotcha.
Mets, Jets, and also the Devils. So I go across the river for hockey too. So
yep.
Oh, that's terrible. Jamie, you want to say hey?
Hey, everybody. Thanks, Kevin, for joining us. NYC, man, we've been looking forward all week to having you on with us tonight. We're class this Southern bunch up a little bit. I'm a little bit heartbroken before we went live. We were talking about it. One of our heroes passed away this week with the passing of Burt Reynolds. And,
yeah, it's a shame.
So we're a little bit sad, but we're also happy NYC's here with us. We're glad that everybody's all joining us on the live stream in the chat room, and everything's going pretty lively over there. And Kyle, I think you got something to share with the folks out there tonight, don't you?
Yeah. Hi, guys. Kyle, thanks for everybody for coming out. It's good to meet NYC there. We had a little bit of opportunity to chat before we went live.
Yep.
I want to tell Cranky Cletus that I messed up. I was waiting for a package from Mid-South Shooter Supply, and I had a package from Mid-South Shooter Supply on my doorstep. So I go out there and cut it open. I'm like, what the heck is this? Can y'all read that?
Oh, yeah.
He sent me a set of Lee 380 dies. So just to show gratification, can y'all read that? That's what I've been doing. The high-tech gold 380s. That's what I've been getting set up. I'm sorry that I ruined your unboxing video, sir. I will make it up to you, I promise.
Now, we can always do a little bit of the old magic of film there, though, right? You know.
Well, it's too late. I've already got them set up. I'm not going to take them back out.
Well, take your Mid-South box that you get, right? Like, look, I got a box. Open it up, and all of a sudden, you change your camera angles. And it's like, look what's in my box, you know?
I figured I'd just do it live and in public. So and tell them thank you a lot from the bottom of my heart, man. That's really nice. I really do appreciate it.
Well, I don't think none of us can act like Burt Reynolds could, so we're probably out of luck on that one. So there you go. I will say this. I'll tell you, the people out there, like I was telling Kevin, I have a sit-down job nowadays, and I can work on Chromebooks a lot. So NYC, I started up. I went to your Facebook, not Facebook, but your YouTube channel, and clicked on videos, and then clicked on play all. And they played most of the afternoon while I was working on Chromebooks and stuff. Not to say that I watched every single second of every single one of them, because I was working at the same time, but they were on. And of course, I've seen most of them as they came out. One thing, when did you start making YouTube videos?
I think about 2 years ago. About 2 years ago, I started.
There was one in particular that got my attention, and that's the one where you made the homemade Dylan loop, and I think your sense of humor came out.
Yeah, I was shaking the bottle off screen.
Just a little bit in that particular video, and you guys that have not been to Kevin's channel and subbed him, you really need to get over there, and you need to. He's got tons of great information, and he's fun. Once you learn that sense of humor, that's a little on the dry side, but he had me laughing and particularly in that video today. So I encourage you to go check him out. So what are you working on now?
Well, I was actually pouring some lead. I just turned my pot off because I didn't want to be disrespectful, and it's hard for me to be on camera and pour lead at the same time. I'm kind of challenged with the camera situation. I'm using my iPhone right now on this, so yeah, I guess that's my biggest problem. I've got to get a camera with some type of gurney or setup that I can spin around. And otherwise, you see my giant arm in the video half the time like this. If you didn't see my latest porn videos, you see this monster mega arm there. And
yeah, that's the only thing that I didn't like about the video. Okay, let me show you what's going on.
Yeah, this arm blocks the whole video for sure. Yeah,
as long as it's all arm and
yeah.
Yeah, it's very hard. It's very hard to film and cast at the same time, and to actually cast decent bullets. Like, I've never been able to do that. I'll be like, "Look, I'm casting." None of those are going to get used. Yeah. They're all going to get back in the pot because it is so hard to do it. I really do think Thorzak's is the only one I've ever seen casting good bullets, talking to the camera, and just kind of doing his thing. And I'm like,
but if you notice Thor's videos, all you ever see is his hands. Thor's hands is all you see in the videos. Once in a while, you'll see him, but when he's doing work, you'll see his hand maneuvers. I can turn off it and I can watch a video. I just know exactly who he is because he's almost Italian in his hand mannerisms, you know?
Oh, yeah. Dude, JRB is bad like that. JRB's hands are like personalities.
Yeah.
They're really good to watch like that.
Yeah.
Nathan, it's funny you were mentioning that because in my very first casting video, Thorzak said something to me about you need to slow down and yada 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 and so me and him started chatting on YouTube, and I'm like, I guess I just get camera shy because I have to keep talking, but I have to keep moving and I have to do this. He goes, dude, make the video an hour and a half long and then edit it down. I'm like, I don't know how yet.
The crazy thing is I do all the editing on my phone, and I got yelled at like 2 days ago for the first time. I had videos of it for 2 years. And I finally got yelled at by a chat like 2 days ago. And the person said, my God, your intro music is the loudest thing I've ever heard on YouTube. What the hell are you doing? I said, well, I was like, I didn't know that it was loud. You're the first person to ever told me that it was loud. He goes, I listen with headphones, and it nearly blew my eardrums. Okay.
Oh, well, I don't know about that. I've never tried that, but I love that tune and that scene and everything. That's great.
Thanks. Well, that audio is stock footage in the iPhone for iMovie, which is a free video editing software.
Yeah, that's what I use.
Yeah, I shoot everything on the iPhone, and I edit everything on the iPhone.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah,
that's what I do.
Yeah, just so simple.
Nope. I'm on the laptop. I got editing software, and I'm still terrible at it.
So he's all professional and stuff.
That volume stuff though, it'll get you because depending on your software, it'll actually make internal changes to your levels, and then when you actually render the video, those changes won't stick. So yeah, I've had that happen before. Where it's one of the videos where I tried to do I talked over top of music, and everything sounded perfect on my machine. And then I put it on YouTube, and it was just the music was way too loud. I'm just like, I'm not going to mess with this right now.
Yeah, that's definitely an issue. That's definitely a laptop issue for sure. Because you got all those different levels and settings. On the iPhone or the iPad, when you do it, whatever level you hear is what you're going to get. It's what they call, instead of WYSIWYG, I think it's what you hear is what you get, is what the statement is. So whatever the levels are, there's no just additional adjustments. Whatever you're hearing is what you get.
So you cast for
just about
everything, don't you?
What's that?
You cast for just about everything, don't you?
Yeah, I mean, I've got friends that have all sorts of crazy exotic loads, whether it's shotgun slugs. I don't really load shotgun slugs except by hand, the old-fashioned method without a press, because it's easy to do. But I buy shotgun shells, bird shot and stuff, because it's so cheap in the store. There's no reason or value for me to make them. Slugs is a different story. So I have some buddies where I'll make some shot for, or I'll make some slugs for, or, that kind of stuff. But yeah, I shoot everything. But mainly my mainstay, my main bread and butter is 223, 300 blackout, 308. I really like the 30 caliber round. That's like my sweet spot. But yeah, I've casted everything. You name it. 44, 45s, all the exotic 35 Remington stuff.
So for guys that are up around your neck of the woods, I mean, and I don't mean just in New York, but in other areas, even Cletus deals with this, and I know some other people do. What do you are you buying your lead off of eBay? Are you walking around in parking lots with a pair of pliers? How are you making that happen?
So it's really how you start the conversation as opposed to where you go and what kind of, art of the deal you've got, if you're a good negotiator. So the best place to get lead is a scrapyard. The absolute best place to get is a scrapyard. But you have to be able to negotiate. I go to the scrapyard and I say, look, well, I don't know what kind of lead this is. Lead comes in all different kinds of alloys. I don't know if there's a bunch of lead that I've got to smelt out of here and I only get 20%. So I'll give you 35 cents a pound. Okay, I'll take it. Because they've got this lead stacked up. They don't know what to do with. They know it's not pure lead. So I'll get it from them. If you happen to live near a lake or a boatyard or marina, a lot of these guys have lead from old sailboats and boats for their keels. So I've got a buddy of mine who recovers boats. He's a diver buddy of mine. I'm a scuba diver as well. I teach scuba. And he recovers sailboats and stuff. So when he pulls them up and salvages them, he cuts the keels out and he cuts them and casts them into giant lead pigs and ingots and stuff. So I pick up a lot from him.
Man, I'll tell you that's a big surplus because especially a decent sized boat. That's hundreds and that's thousands of pounds of lead in a big sailboat.
My buddy has about 20,000 pounds of smelted lead in his giant mega barn, and he probably has another 30 or 40 tons worth of unprocessed keels sitting in his yard that he's going to have to put in his other barn before he gets legally in trouble from the state of Connecticut.
Hey, NYC, the Crazy Scotsman's got a question for you. I don't know if you can see the live chat.
Yep.
He wants to know, are there any restrictions on reloading in New York?
Yeah, in New York City, I think the law when I left the area it was 4 pounds, whereas all you were allowed to have of gunpowder, and now I think it's down to 1 pound in New York City proper. I'm a Brooklyn born and raised guy, so that's where I came from, and started my whole reloading process early on back in those days. But the laws are just specifically regarding having gunpowder in your home or your apartment in the city. So was 4 pounds. Now I think it's 1 pound. So you can't reload a whole lot of ammo with 1 pound. They don't make it very easy. And you can almost guarantee you're going to get it. You're going to get a visit from the police. You get a couple of hazmat deliveries to your house in a month. You can guarantee that police are going to come visit you there.
Wow.
As far as guns and stuff, no handguns are illegal in New York City unless you're uber wealthy and uber rich and you know somebody, or if you're a law enforcement officer. Having a handgun in New York State is a different story. I can get a concealed carry, no problem. Can carry my gun anywhere and everywhere. But as soon as I cross the border into New York City, I've got to go to the first police station and turn my gun in and then pick it up. And they will drive you nuts for the privilege of doing that. So every once in a while, I'll forget, So
yeah,
I'd
that's
rather
probably
have
not
an
exactly
army.
the best thing to do when you got stop and frisk, policies. That's
Yeah.
that's crazy, man.
You
When
don't need.
when I was watching your videos today, I noticed that you have your ingots separated from pure lead to an alloy and you and I both used the pencil hardness test method. Um, what's your take on bullet hardness as it pertains to velocity?
So, in without offending anybody, without telling anybody their sister's ugly, I think everybody's got an opinion on the matter. I think when we powder coat, we lose some BHN. So unless you use Elvis's new method, which has got its pluses and minuses. I shoot for BHN 18, and for me, that is the level of hardness that I need for just about casting everything from 223 to just about anything. If I water quench it, I can get that up to 26 or 28, right? So no problem there. If I air cool it, I can get it to the softness or keep it soft where I need it to be. So it really depends on what you're doing. The 18 seems to be my sweet spot. Other people argue it's 16, which I think is what 16 is wheel weights or somewhere around there. Let's see, range grab, wheel weight 10s. Yeah, like 13. So 13 or 14 in that area. So I'm definitely in the 18 category with BHN. For me, it's just if I need to make it harder, I can quench it. If I need to keep it softer, I don't quench it. So I got a good variety there, and obviously you lose some hardness when you powder coat it. So if you're 18, you need it to be softer. Well, just if you don't water cool it, then you're going to probably be around 14 for standard air cooled, or maybe a little less. So I can do the wide range with just the one. I can harden it, or I can make it a little bit softer. With powder coating, in the grand scheme of thing, the biggest thing is that it also lubes. You get about 100 150 FPS depending on the round over regular full metal jacket. So in my opinion, from I'm going to use a big word, lubrosity, you guys didn't know that word, from lubrosity standpoint, it's better than any type of full metal jacket. And I'm going to say that word. Maybe somebody will correct me and say it right. The way that arbitrates within your rifle, essentially, when you fire the bullet, the heat behind it expands the lead. The lead with the powder coating expands into the groove early in the chamber. And when that occurs, it hits the grooves and hits the rifling much sooner into the process, where a full metal jacket does not expand as fully as a lead bullet or projectile would. And with the powder coating, so you'll get into the grooves a lot quicker, you'll spin a lot faster, and as some people have proven, it's actually a little more accurate as well.
Yeah, I tend to agree with you that it operates better. It's got to, right?
Yeah.
And if you have your BHN right, what I haven't done and what I think needs to continue to be done is testing powder coated bullets for long distance and high velocity.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I haven't done. I think for handguns and some of the other lower type velocity stuff I've done, I'll take PC over jacketed, even if the price difference was the same. I just think it's a better product. And if you got your BHN right, so you're not stripping, yeah, it works like a champ.
Everybody thinks that velocity is the greatest thing, and it's definitely great. It's definitely a very important factor, but everything in life is a balance. And so velocity be and of itself, if it's so fast that it makes your bullet fall apart, then it doesn't really do anything. If it's too slow where your bullet drops prematurely, you really have to decide, if I'm going to make ammo, am I making this for when I go 100-foot range? Because then I'm just going to put powder in it. That's going to get me when I go to the range. This is range, ammo. This is general purpose. It's going to reach out and touch something at 300 yards. And if I need to do long shooting, then I'll probably go with a bullet that I can, shoot for a much longer period of time at a higher velocity, so I can reach out and touch something far away. If I'm casting like, 338 Lapua, which is something I cast a lot, and make a lot of 338 Lapua bullets, I'm going to try, if I'm doing something really long distance and reaching out to touch somebody a mile away, then I'm going to use something that's a copper jacket that I know it's going to hold together. I don't think I could do full velocity with a cast lead bullet, but it's great for the range, 300 yards. And at the price of those bullets, which are extremely expensive, I think it's probably a good idea to have a bullet that you can play with at the range before you go out and take it someplace and spend some real money shooting and missing the target all day, right?
Yeah, I've yet to. I don't know whether it's going to whether it can go out at the velocities needed for 600 yards or 1,000 or whatever. I just don't know, and I don't. And what's funny is, oddly enough, I haven't seen a lot of people doing testing with it.
Yeah.
I don't know if you saw the videos done by Coates Brother Firearms. They did the some testing, but it was with standard lewd bullets.
Yeah.
For 308, which was really good testing. But to me, it's like, well, I'd like to see what happens when you powder coat that and whether you can actually push that velocity, high enough to where you're not going to go transonic and all and have all those issues. I just haven't got around to maybe it's something that one of us needs to do. I don't know. I just don't have time. It's scary as it sounds.
Time is the enemy of all of us, I'm sure. In regard to casting and velocity and speed, I actually posted a question on the Reloaders Network and either the reloading or the casting, one of the casting forums, and I posted it regarding what they found with gas checks. I found the gas checks to be more accurate. Other people say they've had problems with accuracy. I think Gun Fun as SC or something had a problem with it, and a couple of people said, "Oh, I love gas checks and it makes it better." In my opinion, if the gases that are expanding behind the bullet itself come in contact with the gas check, that's going to keep most of the gases in check. That's why you use a gas check. And so maybe I'll be able to drive it at a higher velocity. And for me, I'm not a speed demon. I run most of my, whether it's full metal jacket or powder coat, I run most stuff around 2,600 foot per second to 2,900 foot per second on a full metal jacket. So I'm never sending a screaming bullet down the field. Because if I'm shooting 100 yards, if I'm shooting 300 yards, my range only goes to 300 yards. It's an indoor range. So it only goes to 300 yards. So for me, what's the point?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm with you on that. After that, it's just you're just adding recoil for no reason.
Yeah.
But I do wonder, when you're talking about gas checks, my experience has been that it goes both ways. Mm-hmm. In a perfect world, let's say the powder coating can hold up under the temperature pressure. It's not going to melt in the amount of time that it takes from combustion to exit, right? Let's say that's not going to happen. And let's say you can cut a sprue for a very flat or a perfectly flat, or you might actually take a small file and go over the base of each bullet. Mm-hmm. Powder coated, that is going to be probably, in my opinion, better than gas checking. And the reason why is because every gas check seeing tool I've ever seen slightly deforms the gas check when it crimps it on. It either bulbouses it a little bit or it concaves it a little bit, or it's better than a regular base if the base isn't right. You know what I mean? It's all about that bullet base when you're talking about gas expansion out of the muzzle, and that's going to give you that accuracy. That's why it doesn't matter if your gas check falls off 10 yards out of the barrel. It did its job exiting the barrel.
That would be ideal, right? If it had checked it as soon as it came out of the barrel.
Yeah. But if you got a perfectly flat base and you're not having issues with gas cutting, then I don't see the reason for it. I think it's going to be independent on each person's gun and the amount of pain they're willing to go through for each round.
I have seen, just a little bit faster, foot per second with the gas checks versus without the gas checks. And on recovered bullets, whether you're shooting them with the gel or something that you can actually recover them from, I have seen the bullets, I could almost reload them again. Other than the marks that are on it, you could probably powder coat it again and reload it. So, and I have actually run some bullets hot, like running them at 3,200 foot per second with a cast bullet. I can tell you what the results are. Liquid slag. Liquid slag. You're going to get somebody with a wet piece of lead. They're going to go, ooh, that stung, They're not going to do any penetration.
That's funny.
Yeah, well, it's about cup pressure too, right? I mean, cup pressure is a big part of it, how much it can do. And obviously, the other side of the coin is, well, Kevin, if the cup pressure is so high, you can go ahead and you can make a harder BHN. It's already expensive enough for me to get my BHN to 18 by having to add antimony and super hard and find good quality, high quality linotype and monotype lead. It's already expensive enough to do that, to bring raw lead up there, right? So why would I want to run it at that cup pressure? Again, who am I killing 700 yards away? And if I was shooting 223, I'm a fool. I'd probably go out and get a 6.5 or my 308 or something else to reach out and touch something that far. And I would probably use a full metal jacket. Going for distance, I'd probably go with a full metal jacket.
Well,
just to deal with the pressures.
Powder coating's changed a lot of that, because I remember not that long ago, there was a real reason to use linotype or harder BHN bullets for even some handgun shooting.
Sure.
There's not anymore. There is. I just do not see a reason for it, because you're not actually, especially in a handgun, and in a lower rifle application, you're not going to be stripping the lands and grooves, which is what that BHN is going to do. And if it's going to gas cut and blow apart, and it looks like it's sandblast the base, whether it's going to do that, whether it's something else is wrong, you're crutching something that's wrong with your gun. And I mean, that was a real common thing I was seeing a lot of with revolvers, is guys going to linotype because their cylinder throats were too big, or they were crutching something else. And it's like, fix this, and you no longer will have to do that. And powder coating has changed so much of that, though. It's made it to where I'm one of those people, I'm not going to use anything but wheel weights, clip-on wheel weights. I don't see any reason not to just use that. But even if I wasn't, I just don't see it. So yeah, that 18 BHN, you got a sweet spot, and you pretty much run just about everything like that. You know what it's going to do.
Yeah.
And you know how far to push it. That makes sense to me, boss.
And I can manipulate it down. I can manipulate it up. I can quench it. I can bake it with some powder coat and drop it down to around 14 or 16 back in the wheel weight area. So, I mean, I've got the ability to bring it any direction I want. That's why I chose that specific one as my target. And my lino, I would never load the lino or the monotype stuff, because you can't size it. You would have to stand on top of the reloader handle to try to resize it. It is so hard that it just doesn't want to go through the sizing die.
Well, not only that, here's something that I had happen, and I thought was hilarious. And when you're talking about that, we were talking about this, I think last week. I was having problems with some 357s I was loading. And when I finally figured out what it was, is I was shortening the bullet in the resizing die.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, how are you not doing that with linotype? I mean, especially if you're using like a 4500 or the RCBS version. I just don't see how you're not deforming the actual bullet to try to size it. If your size is perfect, right, then good on you. Congrats.
Yeah.
But if you got to size off a thou or two or whatever, you're doomed.
Yeah.
I'm with you, brother.
No, I think you definitely have to get the dies closer to where you need them to be. And again, is it 308? Is it 306? Is it 309? Is it 313? There's a bunch of different sizes for people shooting supposed 308, and they're different rifles or different dimensions, which you'd think they'd all be a standard, but evidently they're not. At least as far as
what I want to know is, why is it so hard for any different company that makes any kind of sizing apparatus for a bullet to put the number on the die to be the number that it comes out of the die? A 430 with NOE is 432. A 432 was 433.
Yep.
And I'd run them through a couple of times, and they were always bigger. I'm like, damn it, I got to buy another bushing now, because that's not what I wanted. I wanted a 432.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I've noticed that Lee doesn't do it. NOE doesn't do it. Those are the only two I've got. I don't have a Lyman old-fashioned Lubermatic or anything. But with those two, no matter what kit, because I got plenty of the Lee kits, or what bushing, the NOE, they're always not what it says. And so I just figured add a thousandth or two. I mean, that kind of goes away from being able to order the bushings by the thousandth.
Yeah.
Why make it available if that's not what it is? So
different chambering issues on different rifles, and Some people are going to powder coat. Some people are not going to size. Some people are going to size. But I have no explanation for it. I don't know why they do it, quite honestly.
Yeah, my Henry rifle's a 430, so I got a 430, and the Red Hawk's a 431. So I said, well, I'll just get a 432, and that'll be the end of it, and that'll be good enough for both of them. And so I started sizing all the bullets that I cast, and they're all coming out 433, 433 and a half. Well, no, that's not what I asked for.
Yeah.
So I had to buy another bushing. I mean, it's only $7 or whatever it is. So,
no, I have to say that a bunch of you guys live near each other. That's awesome, and you live in a like-minded place. That's really awesome. You know, I the closest person I've got next to me is Cletus, and hopefully Cletus and I get together one time and have some fun and cast something or coat something or shoot something. One of those things.
I had no clue that Cletus lived where he lived.
Yeah.
With a name like Cletus. I mean, I was thinking maybe the farthest north is West Virginia.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sure there's some guys up in North State that are more into, I mean, there's a lot of redneck in New York once you get outside of town, brother.
Yeah. You know, I'm a little bit redneck. I was born and raised in Brooklyn, New York, believe it or not. And in 1978, my father was in the service, so we moved around a lot. And we moved down to Texas, Sugar Land, Texas. And I learned to ride, I learned to rope, learned to hunt. And then we moved north to Conroe, Texas. And, when I first got there, I turned on the radio and couldn't believe there wasn't any rock and roll, couldn't believe there wasn't any disco. I said, I'm going to die. I can't live here. And then I started listening to country music, and now that's all I listen to. Let me tell you, you go to Coney Island with the boombox and you flip on the country music, you get a lot of weird stares. So you can picture me, a 6'4" Italian guy with a giant boombox and a MAGA hat on, getting all sorts of looks.
Yeah, I can imagine, man. That's definitely more shocking than just about anything you're seeing in the streets of San Francisco.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting, man. I'm kind of more on the rock and roll kind of world. So when I go into that whole we got both kinds of music, country and western, I'm a little like, no.
You leave the Blues Brothers out of this.
Yeah, I'm like, no. Now wait a minute. I'm like, hold on, what kind of country? Because there's actually good country. Is that what we're talking about? Or whoa? No, I mean you guys
don't say it.
Yeah, depending on what time you were there, I mean, you got some good country there in Texas.
Oh, yeah.
That's where Waylon's from. It's not a bad site.
I've been to Lukenbach, been to a bunch of places.
Nice
all around that place. Yeah, I used to go and sneak into Gillies when I was younger. I'm Italian, so I was practically born with a mustache and a beard.
Yeah.
So I was 11, 12, 13 years old, and I was sneaking into Gillies and having a good old time.
That's hilarious, man. That's good stuff. So you've been up there then pretty much, so you were born there and then you kind of went back and you've been there most of your adult life then?
New York, you mean?
Yeah.
I've moved all over, but usually for military purposes. So it's 4 months here, 3 months here, 6 months there, whatever my father was getting deployed. We travel with him. So that was the scenario. Yeah. So I also travel for work. I own a computer company and I travel. I used to be all over the East Coast, and the company I'm with now, it's U.S., Canada, Europe, and Australia and Japan and all that stuff. So hopefully, luckily,
it's all real local.
Yeah, all local now. Yeah, really local. Yeah. But luckily, I don't choose to travel as much as I used to. I send the younger guys and I say, "Here's where you're going to get your mileage, and you can take your families on vacation and stuff." So still do a little bit of it, but not as much as I used to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just put in a hard drive in a laptop tonight. So, yeah, a little bit of computer work. You never know.
Yeah.
It was funny because I went to a place, right? And it's so funny how things work. I go to it because me and IT people are really on the outs usually, right? And it's like, why do you guys have to hate your end user? Like, it's like this thing. So I go to a place down here, right? And I walk in and I'm like, hey, I need a 2.5 inch, SATA 3. I don't really care what size. Or I'm thinking about doing an SSD. He's like, oh, I won't sell I'll install one, but I won't sell you one. I'm like, this is a store. You have things and you can sell them, but you won't. It's like you could put it in wrong. I'm like, man, whatever. I'm like,
yeah.
Best Buy I go.
You know, people in computers. I'm in the business for going on 30 years now. And I see people saying, oh, PCs are better. Windows is so much better than Mac. Oh, and the other guys say Linux is better or Mac is better. It's like arguing with a mechanic, which is his favorite tool in the toolbox. Well, what am I doing? What's the task that I'm doing? If I'm doing arts and graphics, I'm going to be on a Macintosh. If I'm doing some gaming and I got to build a gaming rig, I'm going to do it on a PC. If I want a server to run for 20 years without me touching it, not having to do anything to it, it's going to be some Unix variant, that'll run forever. So it's really, it's like trying to argue with a mechanic that, that screwdriver is my screwdriver I use for everything, hammering, chiseling, It's no, you use the right tool for the right job. So I would tell people in my family, I'd say, look, if you're going to go get a computer, go get a Macintosh. Why a Macintosh? Well, this is the 16th time I've fixed your computer. I've removed viruses and spyware. I fixed your BIOS. I've replaced your motherboard because they ate your BIOS. I said, why don't you get a Mac and then call it done? Get an iPad, get an iPhone, call it done. You don't need to be able to go under the hood, so get something that you can't get under the hood.
It's funny because I had that exact conversation with somebody yesterday, a friend of mine, because he was we were talking about computers, and my personal stuff that I use is all Linux. Mm-hmm. But my work computer is a Mac, and he was giving me crap about it, right? And I'm like, no, dude, you don't understand. I open this and it works. It never not works. Yep. If it was Windows, that would not be the case. Like, I promise. If this was just like an Asus with Windows on it, that would not be the case. There's spyware and all this junk that'll just happen. I'm like, with a Mac, it works. I open it up and it does its job. Like, can I do all kinds of fancy stuff? Can I actually change anything? No, but that's not what it's meant to do. So I agree, man. It's all about the right tool for the right job. For sure. And Reload's the same way. It's like, what press is better, a progressive or a turret or a single stage or whatever? How do you size your bullets? What way's better? And it's like, oh man, there's a lot of differences depending on what you want.
No doubt about that. Yeah.
I'll go you one further than that. I think a lot of the times it's what you're used to using for a particular task.
Yeah.
If you know how to do something and you can do it efficiently with tool X, then why all of a sudden would you want to try to start using tool Z? Except for the obvious, if there's a better way, I need to know it,
Yeah.
That kind of thing.
I use a Macintosh because on my Macintosh, while I'm a Macintosh, I can run Windows. I have 6 different flavors of Windows running on my Mac in VMware. And I've got about 20 different varieties of Unix running on my Mac laptop. So, the old days, I used to carry a couple PC laptops. I used to carry a Mac, and I used to carry a Linux, variant of some kind. And I had this giant backpack with 3 laptops in it also. Now I carry a tiny super thin MacBook Pro with, 2 terabyte SSD drive on it. Oh, yeah, it's fast.
Oh, yeah.
I've got everything on it and don't have to look back. So, you get a Mac, you can do everything. That's what people don't realize. You pay a little premium, they last forever, and the resale value on them is crazy. Go ahead and try to buy a 5-year-old MacBook and see how much it costs. It's like $300 cheaper than a new one.
Yeah, that's
go big into Mac stuff, and he's only 16 years old and has quite a collection. And he's a diehard Mac guy. He said because you can do anything you want to on.
Mm-hmm.
If you know the right programming and all that stuff, you can do anything you want to.
Yeah.
The big boys are especially good like that. I tend to think that the Airs are not to be tooled with because they're running right at the edge of what they have the capability to run at. Yeah. And they're kind of designed that way. Curtis said that he has like kind of a collection of vintage Apple. It was funny because my day, and I know we're all about the same age or whatever, and we all been around, Apple went through that period because of their proprietary nonsense. Every one of their computers became, basically paperweights after 6 months. I wanted nothing to do with them for so long because of that crap. And it's funny because somehow or another, they ended up re-imaging themselves as, the company that they are. But it's like somewhere deep back in the back of my brain, I still remember, friends with $1,000, $3,000-$4,000 machines that were useless, 6-8 months after they bought them.
Yeah, that's when they were coming out with the Performa this and all the different types of variant. They created like 9 laptops at one time. It was just craziness, and it was really nothing more than the CEO of Apple not knowing what the hell he was doing. It wasn't Jobs at the time. It was Scully. It was Spiller, it was Gasset. Those guys there. They just were money hungry. They even licensed. I don't know if you know this, but they actually opened up the Apple OS for a while too. They actually cross-licensed it. A bunch of companies maybe. You could actually just install it on the Dell back in the day.
That's funny. Yeah, there was. Man, the guys that ended up with like those first gen Macintoshes and stuff after they was like, no, there's nothing. It's I don't know, but they're great for what they do now.
On the other side of my garage, I've got a whole rack of everything from Macintosh to 128, Lisa, Apple.
Oh wow!
We got about 30 different Macs over there. I can't bear myself to throw them away because they're like old friends. It's kind of like throwing a rifle away just because you don't shoot it anymore. Same kind of scenario.
So my dad's the same way with computers, and I'm totally not. I'm like, this thing stopped working here. You want it? Like, I really see them as tools.
Well, that's the difference between a PC user and a Mac user. PC user uses it because it's a tool. Mac user because it's a religion.
Yeah, it does seem to be a thing. Now, like I said, I use Linux for everything that I do personally.
You're a Red Hat guy?
I use Ubuntu, and I've got a couple different laptops that run it. And but that's from years of hating Windows and not wanting to have the money to spend on a Mac computer.
Yeah. Power computing. Who's talking about? Oh, William Chapin is talking about power computing. Yes, UMax, Super Mac. Yeah, I have one of each of those actually. Yeah,
that's funny.
Does anybody have some
reloading presses?
Either that, or we could talk about women.
He called you a lightweight because you only have 30 Macs laying around.
Well, I've got about 15 PCs upstairs too in my office, so. Couple servers. I work from home. My commute is tough. I walk across the hall from my bedroom to my office. We're headquartered in Cupertino on the Apple campus, which is kind of cool.
That is cool. I got a guy right now that's a friend of mine who's trying to get to that whole, get up out of bed and walk into his office at home, and he's working towards that. And it's fun, man, because it's like every week or something, I get a progress report of how he's doing. Yeah. Getting closer to that goal of being able to quit work and work for himself. It is really interesting.
Yeah.
Reloading, not women. Yes, ma'am.
We reload because we're trying to get away from the women, right?
Yeah, absolutely. No, it's funny, man, because like I said, that collecting thing is a deal, brother. There's on I don't know if are you on the Cast Bullet website?
Yeah. Form? I read. I don't post because those guys seem angry.
They can be a rough sort. I've been on that for a long time, and looking at pictures, like there's dudes that collect every version of every powder measure, and it's just like, golly day, like that collecting is such a big deal. And it's funny how it just it doesn't matter what it is, it can be anything. Crazy Scotsman, Ohio needs rain. Yeah, it hasn't been too bad here. It hasn't been raining every day, but it has been raining. So
I need rain a lot.
Oh, that's Uncle Jim. Look at that. Hey, Uncle Jim. Should give some shout outs to all these amazing people. And Mike's there, Mike Treen. How you doing, Mike? How you feeling, buddy?
Yeah, absolutely. We can do some shout outs for sure.
Grange is awesome.
Yeah, Meg's my boy. Measuring Greens makes some of the he's definitely interested in a lot of the same stuff that I am, and he sent me a lot of stuff. He's a longtime subscriber and friend to the channel. Yeah, William C. Chapin, thanks for coming out, brother. Crazy Scotsman, like always. Uncle Jim, Loaded Cap Gun. Mike Treen comes out to see us. Fuzzy Fork 8. Always nice to see you, Fuzzy. Funny dude. Georgia Boy 44. Hope you're doing all right there. Count. Are we the count or just count? Count G? I don't know. We'll figure it out. William C. Chapin. Thomas Pickering, man, I missed your post. Hey, brother, glad to see you. Chico's been in and out. He's on the road or outside of the house, so he wasn't able to make it today. But we do look forward to the next time we get to hang out. Faux show. Haven't seen Willie. I hope he's all right. Uncle Jim, I think we already said hey, but it's always worth another hey.
You didn't say hi to Thorzax.
For
Is
sure.
Dave here?
Yeah.
Yes.
I didn't see him. Cranky,
Oh, there he is.
thanks for coming out, brother. Oh, yeah, there we go. Dave, appreciate it, man. We were just talking about you and your ability to be able to cast and shoot at the same time.
No, cast and film.
Yeah.
Shoot, film.
They're different in this aspect, sir.
Shane, I'm glad you could make it, buddy. Still just working on a board while okay. Yeah. So, guys, I appreciate everybody coming out here. We got 26 viewers, so it looks like we did get our situation squared around with the notifications this week. I don't know if you guys noticed, we have a couple new moderators with us in JH586 and Kyle Lusk, because Kyle was coveting the blue wrench.
Well, no, I was trying to post a link to New York City Reloader, and I couldn't do it because I didn't have a wrench.
We did put Kevin, we did put up a link to your channel, so hopefully you'll get a few more subscribers tonight.
Great.
He's got some really good stuff that he's working on, and there's some really good stuff that he has already done. Yeah. And there's a lot of information over there. Y'all need to go check him out.
Yeah, I found you, I think, due to the case trimmer, the perfect case trimmer, I think, is the one that got me over to your channel, or somebody just told me to. I don't remember which, but I think that's one of the first videos I watched.
I try to do my videos a little differently. I just try to do them from my educational background. You know, I try to do them like as I was teaching a class or something. So hopefully it's not too dry. Hopefully people find it informative and kind of fun.
It's not dry at all. There's a lot of information there. You present things in a way. Did you ever have that favorite teacher in school that actually was trying to teach you something instead of just waiting until the smoke break?
Yeah.
That's
what I'm shooting for.
That's what it comes off as to me.
Okay,
and guys, y'all will never guess what I'm reloading.
Well, I will, but the chat won't.
What is it?
380?
He's got an eye.
It's hard to tell.
I'm loading 380s.
I was right. You load 380.
Kevin, I don't think you're familiar with my hatred for 380. When I was loading and shooting a lot of 9mm, going around to steel challenges and stuff like that, every time one of these little guys would get in the way, I just sling it in the corner. I've got a couple of videos, some of my earlier videos, I was loading 9mm. Who put this in? Just sling it in the corner. I've got 380s. I just never loaded for it because it gets in the way. You know what I'm saying? If you load 9mm, and the only way you can tell is you stand them up and get eye level with them and look at them. Well, good old Cletus, he hooked me up with a bunch of 380 bullets and some brass, and then today I find out there's some 380 reloading dies on the front stoop. So that's what I'm doing. I'm doing it the old-fashioned way.
Duckleberry Finn's with us. Appreciate you coming in.
I know, man. I know. Have you been keeping up with all that, Kevin?
Yeah, I have been. The whole duck thing.
The whole duck thing?
Oh, yeah. It's a thing now.
Dodgers.
All right. Kevin, do you have a duck?
I do not have a duck. I got a bacon, though.
Cool.
Here's my Mr. Bacon. You guys can see it.
Heck yeah.
Yeah, man. Don't show it to Elvis.
I was hoping he was going to give me one for Christmas. He didn't. If you guys looked online on Amazon, see what these things were selling for Christmas time this past year?
Oh, yeah. That's what Bacon was on one of our chats, and he was like, "Guys, I'd be giving out bacons left and right, but I can't afford it."
Well, they used to be like $6 at the dollar store, but for some reason they got popular.
That's what he was saying. He goes,
And now
"Now
they
I
were
can't
selling
find
for
them."
$160 on Amazon. It was crazy. And like
He
$90.
said, apparently, I've already bought all of them, and now they're in demand.
He's the one that created the demand for it, obviously.
Right.
No, it seems to be that they normalized back down price-wise, though. This is the last Christmas. It must have been a run on bacon-related materials like this.
Well,
Bacon
I
and
don't want
bacon.
bacon unless it comes from bacon. So.
Yeah, bacon is good. That's how you know God loves you, by the way. It's bacon.
Uh-oh, here we go.
I'm not getting
We
it.
now have dark winged duck in the
God almighty.
Oh, that's great. That's great.
I remember that cartoon.
Oh, that is awesome.
I remember Darkwing Duck.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I started laughing so damn hard. Oh,
I'm actually thinking Darkwing Duck when Duckleberry Finn come on. I'm like, oh great, when's Darkwing Duck gonna show up? Yeah, I'll be damned.
So, Kyle, what are you loading that 380 with?
I am using 3.3 grains of Universal.
All right.
I'm not loading a whole lot of them because I haven't played with any 380 reloads yet. So I've got 50 cases primed and sized and all ready to go. I'm just, I'm going to try this because it was kind of specific on the different powders. And I had Universal. What's up, buddy? Oh, okay. I mean, they pretty rounds. I'm just seating them to the crimping groove on the bullet. I call these my James Bond gold fingers because they're gold. See, it's got a nice little crimping groove up there on top. That's just what I'm seating them to, and they're coming out to within spec. So,
well,
and he said these. It says on the box, unsized. Can you read it?
Yeah.
It says unsized. Every one of them I've measured, and I measured about 20 of them, are sized to 3, or they're dropped and coated to 3.56. So I hadn't sized a single one of these bullets. I'm just flaring the case just a little bit, and they go right in.
See if they'll chamber.
Quiet. What happened?
See if they'll chamber.
Shoot one in the ceiling.
Oh, and the die set that he got me actually came with the full-length sizing die, or factory crimp die.
Cool. Oh, boy. Now Duckville, Missouri's on.
Went right in, Jamie.
So,
all right.
So do you live in a place where you can shoot that and the cops won't come in a few minutes, or what?
We couldn't hear you. Say that again.
I said, do you live in a place where you can just open the door and pop around out and nobody comes running with sirens?
Well, I do, but the county jail's like a quarter mile away, and they frown on that.
Yeah.
I do. Kyle does not.
Yeah.
I can go out my back door and fire off a few rounds, and I would say nobody notices, but that would be a stretch. Nobody says anything.
Now, I do live in an area where I could do that if it was the 4th of July or New Year's. Because there's so many people around here that shoot off fireworks, you can't tell the difference.
Yeah, fireworks for sure. I was making a press cam. I don't know if you ever saw my Dylan video, but I've got a video camera in my Dylan press, so I can look at the cases and see that they've been decapped and swaged through the swage that I've added to the side of the press. And I needed to use a 12-gauge cartridge to do that. And I had one, but the primer hadn't gone off.
That way it's centered up?
Yeah, that way it centered up in the middle, exactly. And so
I've actually I bought a endoscope.
Yep.
Then when I got it home, I found out it was too big to go down like a 5.56 barrel.
Yeah.
It'll work for like your 9mm up. It's just the casing on it's a little bit too large to go down the barrel. It goes right down the 44. but I was using it. I had it zip tied to my Dillon and all that, and bent around and hooked to my iPad. So I'd sit there and load and just look for the powder and everything on the iPad. It was great.
Yeah, that's what I use. Yeah, that's exactly what I do.
Yeah,
but I had to knock the primer out because this was a round that kind of busted up in somebody's shotgun. So he gave me the rounds. So I obviously dropped out the pellets and I dropped out the water on it and everything else. And
it's still a live primer.
I'm still alive. So I said, well, let me just go ahead and get a hammer and and a nail. Let me just go ahead and pop that primer, right? So I popped that primer, and it was like 15 minutes. There was a cop in the driveway. We heard a gun discharge over here. I said, yeah, unfortunately, had a problem on the press. No problem. Primer pop on the press, yeah.
On these Lee Loadmasters, they've got I call it a scatter shield. It's a protective shield, and it says install this if you're not using CCI primers. And I'm like, whatever. So I went ahead and screwed it in there anyway. And I was running some Winchester primers through it, and I ran the handle down, and next thing I know, I was like, oop, because the primer went off. And the shield's there to keep the blast from getting anywhere near the powder measure. Mm-hmm. I don't know if you're familiar with a Lee Loadmaster, but
oh yeah.
Okay, all right, yeah, and that thing went off, and I'm like, okay, I'm going to the gun safe to get the CCI primers now because I don't like that. They weren't kidding.
I'm definitely a CCI primer guy myself.
Well, I was too, but you couldn't find them for a while around here.
That's because I bought them all.
Well, somebody did. They were readily available, but you couldn't find powder, so I had plenty of primers.
Now, what used to get me about Winchester is how many of your reload manuals use Winchester primers, which are the ones that are Magnum or non-Magnum. You know what I mean? You can use them for both ways. So then you don't know whether to use a Magnum primer or not with the damn load. Used to drive me berserk.
Right.
I think the quality control of them is good these days. I don't think there's any bad ones, but I have had a lot that don't like to work on the Dillon. The Dillon can be pretty finicky.
Well, that's good to know. I didn't know that. Which ones do you find work best for the Dillon there?
The CCIs. I've never ever had a problem with the CCIs. I've had problems with Winchester. I use some of those cheap Beloits, I guess they're called. Not to knock anybody's type of primer, obviously. I've used, Winchesters. I've used pretty much all of them are out there. Remington ones.
Well, I mean, you use whatever you can get when if you can't get what you normally use, you use whatever the hell you can get.
Yeah, at that time, then I went to a store that had 6 cases of CCI, and I think it was like 24 in each box, and I wound up buying all of them.
It's funny because I actually used that example of the primers today during a training program I was going through, and we were talking about how having a single source supplier to multiple businesses can end up becoming a problem if there's a change in the market. And I was like, yeah, well, here's what happened to the primer / ammunition manufacturers when, demand changed and they were all using the exact same priming compound from the exact same priming company. It was 2 years before we had some kind of normalcy.
Duckville says CCI for life. Me too.
Yeah, I'm a CCI guy by nature, but I'm using Remington lately because I just was able to get a whole bunch of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why I've got the Winchester. I found they built a Cabela's right next to my house pretty much. Yeah. I drive right past it on the way home from work, so I'd go in there, and they had plenty of CCIs, every flavor that you wanted. But that was during the powder crunch. Nobody could find powder.
Yeah.
So I bought up a bunch of CCI primers. Then they started releasing some powders, and I bought up a bunch of powder and started loading a lot of ammo. And then after I went through a couple of thousand of each type of primer, I went back in there and the primer shelves was empty. I'm like, what the hell? And then I looked at the powder side, and you could get some powder, but the only primers they had was Winchester. I'm like, not a Winchester primer fan because I hadn't used them, but I need some, so I bought a couple of boxes of each, and that's what I'm going through now. I've bought some more CCIs since then, but
I'd like to one of these days build a homemade primer machine or a couple tools that'll actually make my own primers and get the chemistry to fill them up. I've got a couple, chemist buddies of mine that would definitely mix up some of that stuff for me. But it would be nice. But where do you store it? You can't mix it in quantity.
Well, I can store it anywhere. Where are you going to store it?
Yeah, I'm going to store it at your house.
Well, that's fine. That's fine as long as I can use a little bit of it.
Yeah, that's all I need. I don't need to give the state of New York any reason to come to visit me and look up my stuff.
Yeah, you start getting into chemistry and you start getting into door knocks.
Yeah, when they start seeing 55-gallon drums delivered via hazmat to my house, that's going to be a giveaway.
Yeah,
that's going to be rough right there. I don't even know if I want 55-gallon drums of hazmat being delivered to my house.
Definitely sends up a red flag.
Although my neighbors wouldn't say anything about it because they already think I'm crazy.
Yeah. Well, they start seeing 55-gallon drums with all the components to make mercury fulminate. It's definitely going to put you on the watch list somewhere.
Yeah. If you go to the Home Depot and buy one bag of fertilizer, you're done. They're just going to lock you up.
Don't buy the stump remover to get rid of that stump in your front yard. You can't have that.
Yeah, we're clearing some land. That's why we buy all that stump remover. Give me a skid of that.
Clearing land? You live in a concrete jungle.
Yeah, exactly. We're clearing some land. Wow, Cletus, that's a sad world, man. Afraid to dry brass outside because now, granted, what's funny about that? I remember I was like, I don't know. I don't remember how old I was, but anyway, I changed oil one time in somebody's driveway around Trenton, and it was like people's eyes were like, "Oh my God, what are you doing?" like the whole idea of like, "Oh my God," like it was so foreign. I'm like, "What? I know you people don't pump your own gas, but good grief."
Oh man!
Put them in the back of your pickup truck, Cletus. Leave the tailgate up.
What you trying to get rid of?
He can't dry his brass outside because his neighbors would be watching. They're eyeballing him.
Well, tell them to keep their eyes on their own damn property.
Which is funny coming from a Southerner because that's what we do worst. Is keep our eyes on our own property. Now, we'll only, mention it amongst ourselves and mutter it and but we ain't nobody going to call the law. You just going to hear about it in church tomorrow.
That's right. We got to tell Kevin about our catch-all phrase.
Bless your heart.
Bless your heart.
I was gonna say praise the Lord and pass the biscuits, but whatever.
Well, in the rest of the world, bless your heart actually means you dumbass.
Yeah. Well, you guys in Georgia, next time you go kill some pigs, and it's not 105 degrees outside, give me a call.
Actually, I've got a place where we can go do that.
Yeah, but just when it's not 105 degrees out.
Well, we're gonna have to wait till the end of deer season now, but
yeah,
I thought pigs eat all year long.
Well, they do, but I try to stay away from all this property during deer season since I'm not paying money to lease it.
I gotcha.
They let me play on it the rest of the year, but during the hunting season, I stay away.
Yeah.
If you watch a couple of my videos, what you see, I'm at the shooting property or whatever, that's the property. And there's some hogs on the back side of the lake where the creek keeps on going. And, it looks like people have been driving subway trains through the brush. There's pig trails everywhere, and they have destroyed deer feeders and everything else.
Yeah.
Kevin, you said you had a Dillon machine. I'm sure you put it in a video, but I don't remember. Is you got a 550, 650, 1050?
I have a 650. I'll put it on cam here right now. See if I can put it there.
Hey, Chico, here's your man.
Let's see. There's my baby. My 650. She's so pretty.
Cletus is the Breaking Bad guy in his neighborhood.
Yeah, huh?
Hey, Vanessa, how you doing? Glad you can make it.
There's Miss Kitty.
Here she is.
Fuzz, you're the only one that could lowercase the V and capitalize every other letter in Vanessa.
His caps lock button's on.
Actually, he's using the VIC 20. You got to give him the props where they're due. All right.
Uncle Grim.
Kevin, how many phone calls have you gotten? I can't sign into my email account. That's what it is.
Yeah, I used to get those a lot. I don't get them anymore. I don't get them anymore. I got people now.
There you go.
Yeah. 20-something years of groveling and having somebody tell me what to do. I finally got smart and built my own company. So nobody tells me what to do anymore.
That's awesome, brother. That's awesome.
Yeah, congratulations on that.
Yeah. I used to put on 80,000 miles a year on my car working for somebody else, saved up my pennies, and wind up buying a company. So not to deal with that anymore. Thank God. And we're worldwide, and it's pretty cool.
So y'all are going to force me to make an extra account, huh?
Yeah, that's kind of the way I think to do it. I've actually been trying to consider how I can possibly start doing a little bit more side business, but never have the time, man, especially if you're working for somebody that has you on the road. And I don't know, I might not be on the road like I used to be. So I don't know, we'll see. Vanessa, we put that in the it's up there in the chat somewhere. Jamie posted it. His never mind, Kyle just did. Womp, 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 womp. Yeah, I've really considered getting Dylan there, Kevin. I'm partial to the 550 just because I like the manual-ish side of it. But I don't know. I'm seeing you in Chico 650. Maybe that's the way I need to go.
When you're cranking out, 700 to 1,000 rounds an hour on the 650, I'm glad I didn't get the 1050. I am very happy I got the 650. I played a lot with the 550, and I think it's a great unit. But the 650 is just incredible.
If everything is going good with my 550, and the only time I really had problems is when I was first setting the dies up and all that. Now I hadn't put a wrench on the damn thing except to change the primer size from small to large. Yeah. If everything's going good, the powder drops all set and all that, I can get between 600 and 700 an hour out of a 550. Yeah. If I'm left alone, no distractions, just change.
The 550 is great. You got to manually index it, obviously. That's not a big deal, obviously. It's definitely better than me making, my small quantity of ammo on the Lee little cast press that I've got. But, my wife comes down here and, she fills up the hopper with brass and, pops the bullets on and pulls the trigger and cranks out ammo. So doesn't have a whole lot of reload experience. Watched me do it a few times, and then she figured it out, and she can make ammo on this thing, which is great. It's just and it just repeatable. I tell you, it's just the repeatability of it's just fantastic. And it's like anything else, is what you get used to, and you can dial in. Once you get it dialed in, right, that's really the big thing. I also love to do the case preparation on it. I've got a video on case preparation. We're using the Dylan, where I go ahead and I decap, resize, swage, trim, all that stuff on the Dylan.
You got the vacuum trimmer accessory?
For years, I said, I don't need that. When I cranked out 2,000 or 3,000 rounds of, prep 2,000 rounds of brass and no time flat, that's like, I can't go back. I do that for my 308 by hand. I do my 308 by hand, the hand trimmer, and I do.
Well, you're not blasting through that stuff like you are 300 blackout, 223.
Yeah, those are the ones I shoot so much of. My end goal is to have 10,000 rounds of every type of ammo that I shoot, as my backup, just for a shit the fan scenario.
Or just Sunday.
Or Sunday, or good barbecue that goes wrong.
Yeah, I don't usually keep a lot on hand. I keep usually 45 ACP the most because I batch load them, but I don't keep a ton on hand. I don't have I just never have. It's kind of one of those things like I know, the crap hit the fan kind of thing that I'm most likely booking out of town, so I only need what I can carry, and I ain't going to carry that much.
I work for Peterbilt. I can carry it.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm more one of those people. Like, if I was actually, and I know it's all a lot of make believe, but if I was actually in that situation, I'm booking for the woods. I'm getting somewhere where I can kill something and eat it, and I ain't got to necessarily be surrounded by people. And for me, that's one of the reasons why I like having a rifle that'll shoot the same round as my handgun.
That's why I did what I did with the 44.
Yeah, and for me, it's 45 Colt. So just because I can grab 500 rounds of ammo, and that's pretty much all I'm going to be able to carry with me. Especially if I've got the loaded cap gun with me, because I got to carry hair dryers and generators and and all that stuff.
Easy there, brother. She's listening.
A phone charger and all kinds of shit.
My issue is I live 50 miles north of New York City. So if anything ever happens, the competition is a little high. 14 million people heading my way. So I got to bug out in an area where I know I can survive. And we got a nice prepping, form now on the Reloaders Network. And I posted my pictures of my RV up there. And
oh, yeah,
it's good to have food. Yeah, it's good to have food, and it's good to have lots of ammo. And I just think I'm going to encounter a lot more people than you guys would where you guys are,
Absolutely. No, that's kind of an interesting point. Like, if crap were to go sideways, would New York empty south, west, or north? I'm assuming not east. I would actually think they would empty west. That makes the most sense, running into Pennsylvania and stuff.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, you don't know. I think you're talking about people would be irrational.
Yeah, I mean, if everybody just started basically, hightailing it out of the city, which way would be the most that you think that most people would end up going? And I would think from New York, most of them would go west,
most of them would probably go north.
That's where I was at with it.
Yeah, because they're gonna go up through Yonkers, and
they're gonna go upstate.
Have north go upstate. They know there's fresh water. They know there's game, and everybody's going to compete for the deer that knows how to shoot. Most people in New York City don't own guns. I think gun ownership in New York City is probably less than 0.01%. Just hardly any guns in the city.
Huh? Yeah, I just think it'd be interesting because I guess they're used to beating the path up towards Connecticut and stuff like that, going to the casinos. I'm just trying to think about I don't know. That'd be weird, man. Can you imagine though? Good God, Philly and New York all emptying. No thanks.
I'll be in the Catskills, and I'm gonna say where.
I'm just going to drive to Canada. Just drive until people hand you ham and say that it's bacon. It's like, whew.
I'm a New Yorker. You can't apologize. You can't say you're sorry and be nice to me for too long, and without me telling you there's something wrong with you. If somebody's not yelling at me or swearing at me, I feel
stories. Yeah.
I just feel uncomfortable.
I have to say something right quick.
Yeah.
To duck sauce. Asshole.
Nice. Well done.
What are you typing there, duck sauce? What's he typing?
He's typing nothing.
Yeah, Jim's right. Canada might be worse. Not to insult any Canadians on here.
Yeah, but there's just so much area where there's nobody at. That is a city-run country right there. It's like everybody's in a city, worse than it is here even.
Yeah. People don't realize how big New York City is. I mean, there's 11 million people that live in it.
Yeah.
And then there's 16 million commuters. There's 27 million people at any one time in New York City during the day. Like, that's a whole lot of people trying to go someplace.
That's almost as many people that live in the state of Georgia.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's insane.
Yeah.
Yeah, and one small little island town.
When we had the hurricane and we lost our house down the Jersey Shore because of the hurricane, we had like 8-9 feet of water in the house. So it was a total loss, which was good because I had it on the market anyway. My insurance paid me more than it was worth, so I was happy about that. But we had people stealing generators coming all the way upstate, 50, 60, 100 miles north, stealing generators, stealing gasoline out of vehicles up here and driving it back down. So it was kind of crazy.
Man.
Yeah, so we got a little taste of it when bad things happen, usually people rally together. When people lose the power, all bets are off. I've been in New York City during a blackout. twice in my life. Once in 77, 78, and again in the recent blackout that we had when the whole East Coast went down. And it was not pretty. Not pretty.
Yeah, I can't imagine. And that was something I've thought about that before. One of the things I think is weird about the city is that you're operating under the assumption that everybody's going to be cool. Like, because you have to rely on everybody else. You can't live without power necessarily. You can't. There's no access to water. You can't. I mean, it's like something goes sideways like that. You were just. Ugh, man.
Yep.
I feel you, brother. That is a mess. But you know what? I was thinking, I don't know if you're under limited powder storage, but I'd be interested. I mean, if I was limited to one powder, what powder would it be? I mean, for me, it'd be unique because I shoot more handgun than rifle.
Yeah.
But I just trying to, man, that would be an interesting exercise. Is like if you were limited to one powder, what would it be? Trail boss, I'm sure.
What would it be? I would move. That's what I did.
I would move. I would go away. I would get out of that.
I've got powder, like a powder vault, and I got tons of powder. I try to have as many primers for every caliber I shoot. I like to have tons of everything, just in case you can't get any more. And I have the ability to reload primers with matchsticks. I mean, but who wants to do that?
Word.
Have to. I'm a big fan of The Walking Dead, obviously. At Eugene's ammo, I wasn't that impressed with it, except that he blew it up. I know how to blow it up. Just don't follow any of the books.
Signal Soldier 31, glad you can make it, man. We haven't seen you in a while. I hope things are going good with your press. We've had a couple more people do some unboxings and things like that. Looks like it's working out pretty good for most of everybody. And he says Varget or 4064. If I'm going to go rifle, I would go 30-31 for me personally.
Yeah.
But yeah, those are definitely good choices.
I like
one pistol, one
223.
rifle. Yeah, that would be easier. Yeah, one pistol, one rifle. That would be unique and 30-31 for me, and without even a second guess. Like I don't even have to question. I know exactly what I would use.
Little gun.
I'd go with
blackout. And CFE 223 for my 308 for 223s, and I'm golden.
I don't know if my phone's charging. I'm trying to get it to charge again. We shall see. It just hit the low battery thing. So,
Kevin, what pistol calibers do you load?
9mm, 38, 45, 44, 357. Just about anything you got. Desert Eagle 50s, whatever.
All that.
Yeah.
40 Smith & Wesson?
Say again?
40 Smith & Wesson?
Nah, not really. Here's my opinion about rifles and handguns and what calibers. I am doing everything from the mindset of a crazy prepping person. So 9mm, 45, I know are very, very widely available.
You're going straight NATO.
223, 308, I know I can get them. I know I got tons of it. I know I can pick it up and trade out with it, and it's going to be currency. Everybody's going to have them. So that's why I use it. And for my reloading supplies, my 300 blackouts use donated 223 cases. And my 30 caliber 308s are also the same bullets I use in my 300 blackout. So it's all about interchangeability for me. Trying to get that sweet spot where I can use the same bullets in 300 blackout and 308 and use the same cases for 300. So, I have some flexibility because, again, if the poop ever hits the fan, I'm prepared and I can trade. And I know I've got the most popular rifle calibers out there. All those great rifles. I don't have a problem with a 40. I don't have a problem with any of them. It's just I'm going based on NATO and most popular, what I'm going to find.
That's good thinking.
Even on a good day, it's hard to find 35 caliber Remington, right?
Yeah.
It's hard to find that brass.
And when you do, it's expensive.
Yeah, that's my point.
No, it's not. I got a whole sack full for free.
Only because you know somebody.
Yeah.
Guys, give me a second. Let me go get an external battery pack because I don't think this cable stretched that long still works. So let me get something I can use a shorter cable on.
Yeah, Fuzzy48 says he likes the older powders that he learned on, and trusts unique 3031, 4895. It is funny, Fuzzy, because I'm the same way. Like I grew up with IMR and Hercules. For me, it was Hercules powders. And that's kind of what I know. And it's like I know what to do. I don't even need. I'm not gonna say I don't need relearn manuals, but like I can get pretty darn close just by knowing the powder, knowing how it works, knowing what it's interesting how much when you have that working relationship with the powder, how much more comfortable it is. Like when I mess with stuff that I don't know, it's like I got to be really careful with it.
I think I go with the CFE 223 based on the fact that the way that it flows through the Dillon. A lot of people complain about some of the different powders, but that powder works so well for the Dillon powder measure. And also clean. My gun is so clean. I made a video. One of my videos is showing the cryptic coating bolts that I've got. And there's a guy shoot 1,000 rounds through that gun. That bolt is entirely too clean. I said, no, it really did. I just came from the range. There should be so much more dirt on that. Well, I don't know what to tell you, pal. There's not. Then you must have a piston gun. I said, no, I don't. It's gas. It's gas. So yeah, I mean the gun was clean, and the bolt just cleaned with a paper towel.
I saw that video. That's some good stuff. I hope you get a royalty on that one.
Yeah, get your Eddie comes in to see us. Glad you could make it, Eddie. Sorry, I didn't mean to jump in. I just saying hi to Eddie.
Sure got room.
Go ahead, Nathan. Shout out to the chat room.
So Vanessa came in and said hi. She's been bouncing around here. She said she's going to be getting some reloading equipment coming up here soon. So, guys, keep an ear out if she needs any ideas or reviews. We'll definitely be here to help. Eddie B, he's on and off tonight. He's at his folks, I guess. So glad you can make it. Signal Soldier 31, like we said earlier, he's in here. Georgia Boy 44. Everybody go check out his channel. He just uploaded a video, I think, today, didn't he? Yeah. Preacher's Day Off, brother. We haven't seen you much doing a pork shoulder. No, wait a minute. Somebody else is doing a pork shoulder, and you're talking about it. Anyway, it still sounds good. Glad you can make it. Armament Axes. Glad you can make it. Sometime we need to get you on here again. And who else here? Thomas Pickering. Glad you can make it, brother. I appreciate it. Fuzzy48. If you guys don't know Fuzzy, go check his channel out. A lot of good videos on a lot of different subjects. He's been around for 3 or 4 minutes, so he's a good source of information. Mike Treen is in the house. The duck and all the duck-related accoutrement is here. Uncle Jim's been around, of course. Cranky Cletus. That's NYC Reloader's brother from another neighborhood kind of situation here across the rear. Oh, who else is in here?
PC Bullet Reloader.
Yeah, that's what I said. Duck and all duck related accoutrement.
Yeah.
William C. Chapin, I appreciate it. Guys, I thank everybody that comes out every time. It never ceases to amaze me that you guys are actually interested enough to come out here and see what it is that we got to say. Now, when we have special guests, I assume you're coming to see them. But I do appreciate it. I know everybody else does. But it's every week. Like, why, it's surprising all these people, but I appreciate it for sure. Yeah, I don't think we had we didn't have exactly a topic to talk about this week, but we wanted to talk with NYC Reloader about kind of what he has going on and how his operation runs. That way we get a good idea of what each one of us is doing and how we're doing it different to learn from one another for sure.
Is Mig still in the house?
I haven't seen him in a while. I don't know if he's on break or if he's at work or what he's – I didn't see.
If he's still watching, I got so tired of trying to trim down a 3-hour video. I'm just going to make a new one in the morning showing that trimmer. So I'll do that in the morning before I go to the grocery store. So.
Well, didn't he just do one the other day that was like 2 or some hours long? I've sat through it too, watching him do this water collection. So don't feel bad about I wanted to edit. That does take some time.
It it's taken forever because I'm doing it on the iMovie thing and all that, and I'll mess up and have to undo and then redo, and then I trimmed it 1 second too late. I'll just do like I did my water collection video. I'll just do a raw video, throw a opening and a closing in the middle of it, and that'll be it of it. So,
Willie Bullet Man's come in, brother. Thanks for coming in. I haven't talked to you in a while. I hope you're doing well.
Hey, Willie.
Everything's going all right.
He playing with a new grandbaby.
Willie, we are not going to do an 8-hour chat. These guys might do an 8-hour chat. I'm not doing an 8-hour chat.
We are not.
I do not have anything to talk about for that amount of time. I can barely see us go an hour and a half without me just standing around going, I ain't gonna talk about it. Yeah. I don't do anything nearly as interesting as Uncle Jim. Uncle Jim, I'm sure, could keep me entertained for 8 hours. I cannot keep me entertained for 8 hours.
I love the video he did where it puts the lotion on. I thought that was funny.
Yeah. Where it gets the hose again.
Yeah. Got a little 223 holding up here.
Out of Willie's body.
Right next to a 338 Lapua.
Yeah.
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
I like to load those buggers, They're awesome.
I just did I looked at a video where they were comparing the 50 and the 338 Lapua as far as basically over penetration stuff. Now, I mean, it's not exactly fair because I don't know what bullet and all that shit they were using, but I was surprised at how, I'm not gonna say how little penetration, but on watermelons, I expected full penetration on both rounds, and you didn't get that at all. It was really kind of surprising.
Or with a 338 Lapua.
There's a 338 and a 50, and neither one of them. Like, I mean, the 338, yeah, 338 went through like one or I think two watermelons, and the 50 went through 3, sometimes 4. I mean, granted, it's impressive because it turns into pink mist, but I expected a hell of a lot more over penetration. That's kind of surprising.
Well, it's funny. You'd probably be easier to penetrate steel plate than you would be able to penetrate, watermelons. When you lose the shock in the first one and it disperses and vaporizes, it goes to the next one, lose the rest of the momentum, and maybe not go through the third one,
Yeah, the hydroshock factor on them.
Absolutely.
That kind of thing is a little extreme. So
I'm going to hide behind something in my backyard. It's going to be the pool.
You know what? Yeah, absolutely. That is that's definitely true. But it was just, I was still surprised by it. And it seemed like to the T, it would split and bust the first one and then vaporize the second one. So it's kind of like once it got slow enough to where it actually could make that wound channel, just exploded it.
If you ever shoot in the water or see those demonstrations where they shoot in the pool and see where the bullet goes, it really doesn't go very far. Even with high caliber rounds, it just doesn't go that far deep. So
I was going to thank you. Have y'all seen the video where the guy is in the pool underwater and his buddy's like 20 feet away and shoots a 9mm, or I forget, SKS or some shit.
Yep.
And the bullet goes.
Mm-hmm.
Nope.
The faster your object is going in the water, the harder the water is. Right? So the water doesn't have a single density. It's density versus speed when you're going through the water.
Yeah, I don't. I really do not think that I'm going to be on the other end of a gun, no matter if we're underwater or whatever we are.
Well, this guy's obviously done enough tests to where he was confident with it.
Never that confident.
Yeah.
Never.
Well, I mean, you watch the slow motion video. The bullet, you got the powder blast and the compressed gases and everything come out, and the bullet goes, shoo, and that's it.
Yeah.
So
it's all physics, man. See, they told us in high school we need to pay attention to that stuff, and most of us didn't. And now we're trying to dig in on the backside to get caught up again.
So Kevin just explained to me why swimming is so hard.
Because you're moving too fast, Jamie. You're moving too fast.
You're supposed to take your time with the ladies.
Slow down, stay on top of the water.
My wife is probably listening to this channel right now, so I'm not going to say anything like that.
Well, hey, Mrs. NYC.
Yeah, with Thomas Pickering and Fuzzy, we're talking a little bit about lead loaders. You need to talk to Curtis about that. He's a lead loader collector.
Yeah, he's got a bunch of them, yeah.
I did not see anybody having bears come and eat their leftovers.
That was the guy that shot all the watermelons with the 50 Smith & Wesson, wasn't it?
I didn't see it. I don't know.
Hootie Hoo. If y'all don't know him, y'all need to go check him out. And there's another guy I've been watching that he doesn't do reloading, but he does some training type skill building videos, and he's kind of new like me, so I kind of it's Guns and Glory. Y'all check him out if you get a chance.
Yeah, I think I'm subscribed to him. I don't know as if I featured him on the recap yet. I think I have, but I might not. If I have, it's been a while. Yeah, I'm with you, Uncle Jim. Who? I don't know. Who? What? How do you?
Hootie Hoo. WHOTEEWHO. All caps.
I'll find that one. Well, guys, we're at 9:31, so we can start kind of wrapping it up and shutting it down because, like I said, we can't. I'm not doing no 8 hours, man. I'm no Uncle Jim, that's for sure.
Man, that was a marathon for sure.
Yeah, that's dedication. You know, that's dedication and a real commitment. You know, I don't have either one of those things. I got commitment issues. You know,
I had to start drinking Edge Red in the middle of it, hoping it'd end.
I got to send Uncle Jim something because he makes really good videos when you send him stuff.
Uncle Jim always makes great videos. You know, it's funny because we've talked about this before. JRB is what got me to making videos, right? And then I saw a video from some gray-haired guy with sunglasses on, sitting on a rock, and I watched a little bit of it. I'm like, I don't get this. And then I talked to somebody, and I said, I don't get this. And they're like, well, watch. He's got some other videos. Watch them. And it was Uncle Jim, and that's what really hooked me. It was like, wow, this guy really is entertaining and just kind of fun and makes this worth. That's what hooked me. Now, granted, my videos are a little bit different of style, but that was what kind of really sunk the hook in me to make videos was Uncle Jim.
Here's what we're going to do today. Now, I don't understand where this and this came from, but you know what? We're going to go for it. This is what we're going to do.
Yep, the JRB style. Yeah.
I think I've been watching his videos for like 3 years, and I've seen his face twice.
Yeah.
I think
like you only see his hands, you know.
He could be a mime.
Yeah, Armin Axes, dude. We got some coyotes here. Not as many as they're basically coming in, like down here. They're there. The population hasn't exploded yet, but there was a period like 7-8 years where I was living in Southern Illinois, and where we were at, there was a ton of them. And I hate the idea that coyotes are around because there's something in their brains to me that doesn't work right. As far as animals go, like if there's a bear, I know there's a bear in the woods. He's going to stick to whatever he's doing. I'm going to stick to what I'm doing. You know, there's like a I don't screw with you, you don't screw with me thing. But a pack of coyotes, they ain't got that same. It's like their brains don't work right.
Yeah. Well, this by the way, I mean, whereabouts in Southern Illinois, by the way?
I was right on the other side of the river, so I was right on the other side. I was in Belleville area, right across from St. Louis.
Okay, so you're just right across the border from St. Louis.
Mm-hmm.
I spent some time in Southern Illinois in McLeansboro.
Okay. Yeah, I know you said military, but I was Air Force, so I was stationed at Scott.
Okay.
Which is, like I said, it's right on the other side of the river, and I miss it surprisingly, even though that area is a little weird, and it's changed a lot. I still kind of miss it. Maybe it's the people.
It's good people.
Well, I think it's the only part of the state that has any hills in it.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a few little hills here and there. It's just very different. It's funny because the people. Like everybody that I've ever met in Illinois is so different than Illinois politics. It's like if every New Yorker you met was like you, Kevin. You never met the other side, And that's what it always seems to feel like to me in Illinois. It's always so different. I meet more people, you know, like my buddy that made me this here flag from Illinois than I do the other side. So it's just kind of an odd deal. So this is something. If 243 Outdoors, we haven't seen him on the side chat or anything. If you guys don't know 243 Outdoors, give his channel a look. He does some really good videos, guys.
Oh, yeah, Josh does some really good stuff.
Yeah. You'd be surprised. People think New York, and they think it's all New York City. I mean, New York City is just a tiny part of New York. That's barely in New York. It's actually more in New Jersey than it is in New York. And New York City doesn't have a lot of guns. Long Island has some guns, but not a lot. They've got a lot of tough laws and very few gun ranges. But you go upstate New York, and it's all MAGA country for sure. All gun-toting people.
Oh, I've got some friends up from there, and I know that there's that side for darn sure. But guys, I appreciate it. We're sending this around the horn. I appreciate everybody coming out here. You know, we've got 30 viewers back to back, kind of where we're usually at. I appreciate the Duck and all the Duck personalities coming in and saying hi. I try to keep my Duck close, and he dive bombed. You see that kamikaze Duck?
Yeah.
I
guess I'm gonna have to get Duck now.
Yeah, guys, I appreciate everybody coming out. I don't know when the next time I'm going to get one of the 32 mag videos up. I got a little bit of loading done because we had a 3-day weekend, but I still didn't finish all the loading I need to do. Just the method that I have to do is really slow because I'm only loading 10 of each, and I'm loading a ton of them. So when I get that, I'm going to get it done and get it out to you guys as soon as I can. I'm going to keep doing the weekly updates and these, and maybe I'll do a couple shooting the breeze videos or something if I can't get anything else out. But I appreciate everybody coming out and go around the horn there and give your shout outs.
Thanks for the invite.
Armament and Axes is asking for a second chance. He goes, he didn't have enough lead time the first time to make it.
Yeah, that's a crazy question. Before we go, and I hate to ask this question, are we on next week? I don't think so. I think it's supposed to be the Reelers Network, but I think he said he wanted to wait. Right? He said he wanted to do it on I thought it was like the 22nd. I don't remember. Crap, guys, just wait. You know, if you get a notification, you get a notification. I think we're actually going to be on next week, even though typically I don't think we would, because I think this is the week that the TRN live stream would be, but I don't think they're doing it this week.
If I'm not mistaken, you can schedule it like up to 12 hours in advance, and it'll give you the link, and then you can just tell them what time. I think. I don't know.
Yeah. So guys, I don't know. Let's say there's an 85% chance that we're gonna be up and running next week, but there's only a 50% chance of that.
There's an 85% of a 50% chance, or a 50% chance of an 85% chance.
There's an 85% chance, but only a 50% chance of that.
So we're averaging at what, 62.8?
14.3 is half. I have no idea.
Before we go, let me show you my AR-15, and my problem is just everything's kind of small for my hands and stuff. You can see I'm holding it.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, but if you hit the grill just right, you can light
it. Yep.
I like that ACOG on that thing.
My sister got me one for Christmas.
Oh, they're great.
Oh, it's awesome. And hey, Kevin, don't hang up.
I won't hang up.
I don't know if you're familiar with live chats. Are you not?
I am, but I've never done a hangout. This is my first hangout, so.
Okay. All right. All of us will still be on the phone with each other video chatting after Nathan hits the kill switch.
Okie doke.
So
we can talk about Uncle Jim.
Do what now?
We can talk about Uncle Jim.
Oh, exactly. What we're going to anyway.
Yeah.
He knows it.
Yep. All right, everybody. Take care. Thanks for having me on, guys. I really appreciate it. It was cool.
I appreciate you coming out, man. That's it's kind of, it's always good to have somebody on here, and I appreciate it. You have a very unique outlook on this stuff. So
I think one thing we learned about Kevin tonight is he does have a very unique and very good sense of humor, and I'm glad he came to spend some time with us tonight and let the people know that. And I think that's a very good thing. I feel like we got to know him a little bit better, and I hope everybody else did too. And I think we will be on next week. I think Bacon's going to be traveling, so I don't think we'll be interrupted next week, but the week after that, maybe. I want to say thanks to everybody that came and joined us tonight. We had a good crowd, lively discussion, and I hope everybody had fun, and I hope they want to come back next time. And Kevin, anytime you want to come back, you get in touch with us, and we'll see what we can work out.
Sounds good.
You've been a big blessing tonight, man. Thank you for coming.
Thank you. My pleasure.
Kevin, Kyle, what you got going on, brother?
Right now, what I've got is these James Bond Goldfinger bullets in 380. Don't say anything. Tomorrow morning, I'm making a video for what Mig sent me, which was the lineman adapter for the Lee Quick Trim. I'm just going to remake a video. It'll be real quick. I don't have to deep prime any of the brass. There it is. Okay, done. That's what I'm doing. I'm going to play around with these 380s, hopefully get out to the range maybe like Monday or Tuesday. Jamie, I'll get with you on that because I'm sure you got some stuff to shoot too. One thing I did find out tonight is we all knew that New York City was an intelligent person, and now we found out a lot more about him. He's intelligent in a lot more areas, and he has opinions in a lot more areas. And hopefully we spread his channel to some people that haven't seen him yet.
That'd be great.
So I hope that's the outcome, because, man, I got to tell you, man, there's a lot of great videos that you've got, and you quit making videos for a while, and I'm like, where's he at? I guess you got sick or something?
Yeah.
That's what I heard.
Yeah, a little walking pneumonia.
And the Boogie Woogie Blues.
Yeah.
Got it. But yeah, I was missing them because I was watching your stuff all the time. I'm like, man, these are great videos.
Oh, thanks.
There's a wealth of information on your channel. We just got to get more people out there looking for it. So, and that's what we're trying to do. And it was killer having you on here. I just can't say thank you enough. I appreciate you being here.
Pleasure was mine, really, gentlemen. Thank you.
All right, guys. Well, I appreciate everybody coming out. I said something about it. Jamie's got a new 35 video out. Go watch that. NYC Reloader's always putting something up just about weekly. Kyle's been doing some unboxing video. He's into the shipping business. So check everybody's videos out, and I appreciate everybody.
I didn't choose the shipping business. The shipping business chose me.
That's absolutely. Guys, I appreciate everybody coming out, and I look forward to seeing you next week. So have a good night. Bye.
Night, guys.
Night, guys.